Did you know that you can create data models and establish relationships between tables in Excel? We can make this possible using a powerful add-in from Microsoft called Power Pivots. Now, if you're hearing about Power Pivots for the first time, then I highly recommend that you go through the earlier video that I prepared where I have given a brief introduction to Power Pivots and how to integrate the add-in into your Excel workbook. Links will be in the description. Now, since that's out of the way, let us dive into today's topic. Welcome everyone to Pivotal Stats, where we talk about data analysis techniques, business intelligence platforms, and much more. So let's go. Hey everyone. So this is the requirement for today. We have two tables, one for sales and another for profit. And we need to create a pivot showing profit for each city, but we need the sales column as well in that pivot. So which means we have two datasets and we need to create some kind of relationship between both of them to have both of the columns presented in the same pivot table. Now, traditionally, you might have used VLOOKUPs to do this, but there is a fundamental flaw in using VLOOKUPs. What if your dataset has more than one value for a single city? So let's say we have duplicate values of a single city in the same dataset. Then when you apply a VLOOKUP, it will pick the first item in that data and leave the rest of them, which creates a problem for us. So in order to resolve that, in order to overcome that limitation, we will be using Power Pivots to do this. Now the dataset that we have used, you will find the link for that dataset in the description box below. So you can follow along if you want. Now let's just jump into it. So by now I assume that you know how to integrate the Power Pivot add-in into your Excel file. You can go through my earlier video where I have given a brief introduction about Power Pivots. Again, the links will be in the description. Now, since that's out of the way, let's open up a Excel file where you want to create your pivot table. In my case, I have opened a blank Excel file. Here it is. Now go to the Power Pivot tab. Assuming you have already added it, you will find a Power Pivot tab at the top. Go to the Power Pivot tab and click on the Manage button. This is called the Power Pivot editor window, where we will work with datasets and create our relationships. Okay. Now what we need to do is, since my dataset is in a CSV format, we need to import that dataset into the Power Pivot first before moving further. So for that to happen, just click on Get External Data and click on Other Data Sources from Other Data Sources. Now there are a plethora of other options here, but I'll just quickly scroll down and select this text file. In case your dataset is in an Excel file, you can choose Excel file as well, or any other format if you want. But for now, since my dataset is in a CSV format, I'll choose the text file and click on Next. Now it's asking for the file path where my dataset exists. So I'm going to browse and choose profit dataset first. And since my dataset contains the column header as well, I'm going to check this box here which says use first row as column header, and then click on finish. So once it successfully finishes importing a dataset, it will give you this prompt which says success. You can close this out and you can do the same activity for the second dataset, which is sales. I'm going to scroll down again. Next, browse, sales, use first row as column header, and finish. Okay. So if you have done this correctly, you should see these two tabs in your Power Pivot editor which says profit and sales. Now, since we have both the tables in our Power Pivot, it's time to create a relationship between them so that we can use them in our final pivot table. In order to create a relationship between two or more datasets, we need a common anchor between them. In database terminology, we call this primary key and foreign key. If you observe, we have such a column in both the datasets, that is city column, which is common between both in profit and sales, right? And this is the same column that we will be using to create a final pivot as well. right? However, to create a relationship, we require at least one table to have unique values, because Power Pivot has a limitation where it does not support many to many joins, many to many relationships, right? It only supports one to many relationship or one to one relationship, right? So for that to happen, what we'll do is we'll have a workaround for that. What we'll do is we'll come back to the Excel file here, and I've already created a additional table which has a list of cities, and this time I've taken all the unique names. So I've removed all the duplicates from this entire list. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll create a table out of it. So I've already done it. So what you need to do is just go to insert and create a table, and this will create a table for you, right? That's the best practice that you could follow. And once the table is created, just name it as city list so that we can refer to it later on. In order to insert this table into our Power Pivot, what we will do is we will click anywhere on the data set and go to Power Pivot and click on this add to data model. Now automatically this table gets added to your Power Pivot window. Now if you see, it has automatically named it as city list. That's why we named it as city list earlier when we were creating a table out of it. Let's go to the relationship building part of it. What we will do is we'll go to the diagram view of Power Pivot editor. Right now we are at the data view. We need to click on this diagram view, which is there at the top right of the window. Now once here, as you see, all three tables are present here. I'm going to just rearrange this table just for having a better visual representation of what's happening, and I'm going to extend this like this. So we have the profit table, we have the sales table, and we also have the city list table, which contains the unique city names. So what we will do is we'll create a relationship between city list and profit, and similarly city list with sales. Okay, in order to create a relationship, what we need to do is click on this city, drag onto this city list city column. Similarly, click on this city on sales table and drag it onto this city list column. Now it has created a relationship between city list with profit and city list with sales, right? So city list is the common factor now. Now our relationship building part is done. What we will do is we'll go back to our Excel file, and in Excel file we'll create a pivot now. Eventually what was required from us, right? So what we'll do is go to insert tab, click on this pivot, and within this pivot table click on from data model. Okay, and choose a location where you want to create the pivot. I'm going to press OK. Now the moment it creates a pivot table, you will see in the field list we already have all three tables present there, right? And what we need to do is we can just drag the columns that we want, and it will automatically show you the results. So let's see how. So from city list, which is the common column between both the tables, you need to drag that first. Okay, we created a relationship between city columns of all the tables, right? So we drag the city list from city list table, which is the common factor, and from the profit table we're going to drag profit. Similarly, from the sales table we're going to drag sales. Now if you see, it is showing profit and sales for each city accordingly in our pivot table. Isn't that great? So that is it. Now you have seen how we can successfully create a relationship between these two tables and create a single pivot with data coming from both the tables. Stay tuned for more, since many more topics related to Power Pivot will follow, including building complex DAX and other advanced topics. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel and see you in the next one.